The internet is not in the cloud. It is inside ordinary buildings with street addresses. Some of the most important ones look like offices, warehouses, telegraph buildings, and beachside huts you could walk past without noticing. If a handful of these places failed at the same time, the internet would not disappear. But parts of it would slow, reroute, and break in ways most people would feel before they understood. You have walked past one of these buildings if you have lived in New York, Los Angeles, Amsterdam, or London. You may have driven past one of them in Northern Virginia. You may have surfed near one on the Cornish coast. The buildings do not advertise what they do. Some look like office towers. Some look like featureless warehouses. One is a 1930s Art Deco landmark. One is a German submarine bunker that was never finished. Their addresses are public. Their function is hidden in plain sight. This is a video about 7 of them. 60 Hudson Street is a 24-story Art Deco building in Lower Manhattan, between Worth and Thomas Streets, finished in 1930. Brick facade, geometric stonework around the entrance, spire at the top. It was built as the headquarters of Western Union. For most of the 20th century, this was the central nervous system of American telegraphy. Western Union's continental network of telegraph wires converged here. Operators inside this building received and routed messages between cities and continents. The internal architecture, the conduits, the cable risers, the elevators, the floor loads were designed around telegraph machinery. In the second half of the century, telegraphy declined. Telephone networks replaced most of what telegraphs had done. Western Union's network shrank. The building did not shrink. The risers remained. The internal infrastructure was still ideal for routing large volumes of electronic signals. In the 1980s and 1990s, as the commercial internet emerged, telecommunications companies began leasing space inside 60 Hudson. Fiber optic cables ran through the same risers that had carried Western Union's telegraph wires. The building that had been the heart of American telegraphy became one of the densest carrier hotels in the world. A carrier hotel is a building where many telecommunications companies house their network equipment in shared space, with direct fiber optic interconnections between them. The Meet Me room at 60 Hudson on the 9th floor provides access to hundreds of networks, connection points for transatlantic cables, north-south backbone routes, financial exchanges, and most major content delivery networks operate inside this building. The New York International Internet Exchange runs here. You can walk past 60 Hudson Street. It is on a quiet block. There is no public signage indicating what it is. The doors are locked. From the sidewalk, it is an unremarkable piece of 1930s Manhattan architecture. Most New Yorkers have never noticed it. 1 Wilshire is a 30-story office building on Wilshire Boulevard in downtown Los Angeles, completed in 1966. From the outside, it is a fairly standard mid-century skyscraper, tan facade, vertical lines, tinted windows. Nothing about its exterior suggests what is inside. The 4th floor of 1 Wilshire is one of the most important rooms in the world. It is the Meet Me room, operated by CoreSite, the floor where hundreds of major telecommunications companies have direct fiber optic connections to each other. The optical equivalent of a rail switching yard where lines from many directions all meet. 1 Wilshire became a carrier hotel in the late 1980s and early 1990s. The reason was geographic. Los Angeles is the major Pacific gateway for North American internet traffic. Submarine cables landing on the west coast of the United States route up to data facilities in the Los Angeles area for distribution. 1 Wilshire sits about 20 miles from the major trans-Pacific cable landings. It became the place where those cables met the rest of the American internet. Over 300 network service providers and tenants operate equipment at 1 Wilshire today, including the major Pacific cable operators, the West Coast peering exchanges, and the content delivery networks that serve Asian audiences from Los Angeles. A substantial fraction of internet traffic between North America and Asia passes through 1 Wilshire. If the building suffered a major outage, traffic would reroute, but performance and connectivity between some networks would degrade sharply for many millions of users. The building is well protected. It has its own backup generation, climate control, and security. But it is not advertised. Its tenants are not listed publicly. The address is public, the function is invisible from the street. Pedestrians walk past 1 Wilshire every day. Most do not know that the building they are walking past handles a significant share of the connection between the Pacific Rim and the American Internet. It looks like an office building. It is also the building where the Pacific arrives in North America. Telehouse North is a multi-story building in the East India Dock area of London. From the outside, it is a beige, institutional-looking building, set among the Canary Wharf skyline, but architecturally separate from it. No flashy glass cladding, no memorable name on its facade. 7 floors of concrete and steel. KDDI's Telehouse opened Telehouse North in Docklands around 1990. It was Europe's first purpose-built neutral co-location data center designed around disaster recovery needs for major financial institutions, including Japanese banks operating in the City of London. What followed was an accumulation. When UK Telecom's deregulation arrived in the mid-1990s, Telehouse North was the only suitable neutral building available and became the de facto interconnection point for new carriers competing with British Telecom. The London Internet Exchange, Links, set up its first switching site inside Telehouse North in 1994. The 1990 facility filled, Telehouse expanded, Telehouse East opened in 1999, Telehouse West opened in 2010. Other operators arrived in the area. Today, the East India Dock Zone is one of the densest data center clusters in Europe. Links still has switching infrastructure in Telehouse North, alongside switching infrastructure in several other London buildings. The financial dependency is significant. London is one of the world's largest financial markets. The data centers in Docklands handle traffic for the trading systems of the major banks, the clearinghouses, the foreign exchange markets. Millisecond-level latency between a trading firm and an exchange is built into the geography. The placement of a server in Docklands versus a server in another part of London can be the difference between executing a trade profitably and missing it. The buildings are guarded but not hidden. Their addresses are public. Their existence is widely known to anyone working in IT or telecommunications. But to a tourist walking through Canary Wharf to look at the towers of HSBC or Barclays, the data centers next door are invisible. They do not display logos, they are just buildings. AMS-IX, the Amsterdam Internet Exchange, is not in one building, it is in many. The exchange started in 1994 when a small group of Dutch internet service providers wired their networks together to keep European traffic from being shipped through the United States. The formal association was registered in 1997. In 1995, total traffic exceeded 1 megabit per second. By 2025, peak traffic reached around 14 terabits per second across more than 900 connected networks. AMS-IX is one of the largest internet exchanges in the world by traffic volume. The physical exchange is distributed across multiple independent co-location facilities around Amsterdam. The major sites include facilities operated by Equinix, Digital Realty, NICEF, the Dutch National Institute for Subatomic Physics, and others. The exchange operates as a network of interconnected switching equipment in these sites, so member networks can peer with each other through any location. AMS-IX is explicitly distributed across multiple independent facilities. The Dutch internet community decided that the resilience of distributed infrastructure outweighed the convenience of a single hub. The cost of one site failing should not be the cost of European peering failing. AMS-IX has more than 900 connected networks. Content providers, telecommunications companies, cloud service providers, governments. Their traffic moves directly between European networks at gigabit and terabit speeds without routing through the United States or Asia. The buildings themselves are unremarkable. They look like warehouses on the outskirts of Amsterdam. Some are surrounded by industrial parks. Some are surrounded by working farmland. None have signs indicating they host one of the world's largest internet exchanges. The Dutch government considers some of these sites critical national infrastructure. They are monitored, they are protected, they are not publicized. When you stream a video in Berlin and the source is a server in Madrid, your traffic almost certainly passes through one of these warehouses. The European internet is not held together by one famous cathedral building. It is held together by a switchboard scattered across anonymous sheds. The intercontinental internet does not actually live in the cloud. It mostly lives in a bundle of glass fibers thinner than a pencil, lying on the seafloor. When those cables reach land, they have to come up somewhere. In the United Kingdom, an unusually large share of them come up at a single stretch of Cornish coast, around the village of Widemouth Bay, a few miles south of Bude. Cables that have landed there over the past 60 years include TAT-3, 1963, TAT-8, the first transatlantic fiber optic cable, 1988, TAT-14, Apollo North, the Europe-India Gateway, Flag Atlantic 1, GLO-1, Pan-European Crossing, Amity, and Google's Grace Hopper cable, 2022. A major share of the UK's transatlantic and intercontinental cable capacity terminates within walking distance of a Cornish beach. This is not a coincidence. The same stretch of coast was central to British global telegraphy. Just down the road at Porthcurno, 14 submarine telegraph cables once came ashore beneath a sandy cove, making the small Cornish village the largest telegraph station in the world for most of the late 1800s. Porthcurno closed in 1970. The Cornish coast had already proven to be a viable doorway for transcontinental signals, and the modern fibre industry inherited the doorway. Roughly 10 kilometres north of Widemouth Bay, on a clifftop site at Cleve Camp near Morwenstow, sits GCHQ Bude, formerly known as CSOS Morwenstow. Construction began in 1969, full operation in 1974. It started as a satellite ground station for signals intelligence during the Cold War. 2 30-metre dishes appeared first, smaller dishes followed. In 2013, journalists at The Guardian, working from documents leaked by Edward Snowden, reported that GCHQ had been running a program called Tempora, intercepting traffic from fibre optic cables landing in the United Kingdom, with infrastructure at Bude as a core processing site. The British government did not dispute that intercept programs existed. Today, Bude is a holiday town. Surfers ride the same swells that wash over cables carrying a meaningful share of the conversation between Europe and the Americas. The cables come ashore in a quiet field above a beach. In Marseille, on the southern coast of France, there is a low, concrete structure built into a hillside near the old port. It is roughly 250 meters long. The walls are several meters thick. From the outside, it looks like an industrial ruin. It was built in 1943 as a German submarine pen, codenamed Martha. The Kriegsmarine planned to base up to 20 U-boats inside, behind concrete designed to survive 10-ton aerial bombs. The Germans never finished it. It sat, largely unused, for decades. In July 2020, the colocation company Interxion, now part of Digital Realty, opened the first phase of a data center inside the bunker. The site is known as MRS-3, roughly 7,100 square meters of IT space, designed to deliver up to 16.5 megawatts of compute load, all of it inside the original submarine pen. The reason the building is now full of servers is not the bunker. The reason is the cables. Marseille has quietly become the most important subsea cable hub in Europe and one of the largest in the world. Around 17 intercontinental submarine cables land in or near the city, with Medusa's Marseille landing announced in October 2025. Routes include the WWII family connecting Europe to Asia, plus major links to Africa and the Middle East. By recent measurements, Marseille is the #1 cable landing hub in Europe and around 6th in the world. Anyone wanting to host content near the place where European internet meets Asian, African, and Middle Eastern internet wants to be in Marseille. The Martha bunker happens to sit a few hundred meters from where some of those cables come ashore. The walls already exist. The walls already survive bombs. The same concrete that was poured during the German occupation to shelter submarines now shelters routing equipment for half a planet's worth of network traffic. The history of the building is unrelated to the history of the cables. They simply ended up in the same place. There is a suburban county in northern Virginia, west of Washington, called Loudoun County. It is known to the people who live there as a quiet area of housing developments, shopping centers, and farmland gradually converted into office parks. It is the world's largest data center market. The phenomenon began in the late 1990s. AOL was headquartered in Loudoun. Other internet companies followed. Equinix was founded in 1998 and opened its first Ashburn data center in 1999. MAE East, an early American internet exchange, located its primary facility in nearby Vienna, Virginia. The combination of cheap land, reliable power, fiber optic networks built for the federal government in the Washington area, and proximity to federal agencies made Loudoun and the adjacent counties uniquely attractive for data center construction. By the early 2000s, the cluster was self-reinforcing. New data centers came to Loudoun because other data centers were there, because the fiber connections were there. According to Loudoun County's own 2026 data center guidance, the county now contains more than 200 completed data centers, with dozens more under construction. Major operators include Equinix, Digital Realty, AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and many others. The cluster is collectively called Data Center Alley. You may have seen the claim that 70% of the world's internet traffic passes through Loudoun. That number has been challenged by industry analysts in recent years. The actual share is smaller and varies depending on how you measure it. But by every credible measure, Loudoun is one of the densest internet infrastructure clusters on Earth. The buildings themselves are deliberately unremarkable. Large beige rectangles, no windows, set back from the road behind landscaped berms, some labeled with company logos, most not. Truck access in the back, quiet during the day. Residents have been complaining about expansion for years. The buildings consume enormous amounts of electricity. Cooling systems generate noise. Local roads were not designed for data center logistics. The expansion continues. 7 buildings is not the whole story. It is a sample. There is a hill of granite in central Stockholm called Vita Berg. In 1943, a civil defense shelter was carved 30 meters into the rock. In 2008, the Swedish internet provider Bahnhof opened a data center inside, called Pionen. For a period in 2010, it hosted servers for WikiLeaks. The entrance is a steel door inside a tunnel. The interior includes greenhouses and a saltwater fish tank. Visiting customers walk past plants growing under simulated daylight, deeper underground than most subway lines. In Toronto, the city's largest carrier hotel sits at 151 Front Street West. The building was built in 1954 for telegraph equipment, sited next to the railway because Canadian telegraph wires followed Canadian railway lines. The Toronto Internet Exchange, Torix, has equipment in it. So do most major Canadian carriers. On a former NATO base near Keflavik, Iceland, a data center campus operated by Verne, formerly Verne Global, runs on Icelandic electricity that is close to 100% renewable, drawn from a national grid powered by hydroelectric dams and geothermal plants. The cold air does most of the cooling for free. Compute-heavy customers move workloads here because Iceland's power is cheap, clean, and abundant. In a small Oregon town called The Dalles on the Columbia River, Google opened its first owned and operated data center in 2006. The site is powered by the regional grid, which the Columbia Hydro system has dominated for decades. The same site was the subject of a multi-year dispute in which the city of The Dalles sued a newspaper to keep Google's water use numbers from being disclosed. These are 4 more. There are many others. A converted underground civil defense bunker, a 1950s telegraph hall in Toronto, a geothermal-powered campus on an old NATO base, a hydro-fed Google site by an American river. The same pattern holds. Old infrastructure absorbed by new infrastructure. Public addresses, hidden function. These places are part of a quieter system that civilization runs on without noticing. The internet is everywhere because the wires reach almost everywhere. It is also somewhere very specific because the wires terminate at known points, in known buildings, in known places. A New York Art Deco tower, a Los Angeles office on a busy boulevard, a beige building in the London Docklands, a constellation of warehouses around Amsterdam, a field above a Cornish beach, a World War II German submarine pen on the southern coast of France, a suburban county west of Washington. Together, they handle a significant share of the world's internet traffic. Together, they are the cloud you imagined was nowhere. You can stand in front of any of them. You can take a photograph. You can find them on a map. They are not classified. They are not hidden. They are simply not labeled. They do not announce themselves. They do not have public lobbies that explain what the building does. They are not in films, except as anonymous urban backdrop. Civilization built the internet inside specific buildings with specific addresses that you can walk past on any ordinary afternoon. You probably already have. The cloud was never above you. It was beside you, behind locked doors, in buildings you already learned to ignore.